Hi guys, it's Sherry. Today we are going to be making a very large statement piece here. So this is going to be a bangle, and you can see how large it is. But the reason I'm doing it so large is because I am going to imprint this into my piece. And I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So to start out, we're going to do the inner layer first. So I have my Primo black clay rolled out to a number 4 on my pasta machine. You can see the thickness. It is not too thick. You do not want it to be overly thick because, as you see, your bracelet will fit you perfectly, and just putting that little bit of layer in will give you exactly how much you need. So I got a roller here. And the inside, I'm going to give it this beautiful like tiger print because I just think it's beautiful. So I'm going to take my roller and just glide it right over. And you can move slowly, you can move fast. It doesn't really matter with this particular one. And let me just move my knives here. You can see how beautiful that looks. Then let me just take my knife here and I'm just going to trim it up a bit. For some reason, my Primo black clay always gets very sticky underneath my lights. So you'll see it'll stick to my table quite a bit off and on. And I don't know why, but the black clay just seems to really stick nicely there. All right, I'm actually going to trim it up exactly where my pattern ends. Okay, and then I'm going to get my bigger blade and I'm going to lift it up. Okay. Next, I'm going to grab my oven clay, or it's oven baked clay adhesive. I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to fill this up completely inside, and that'll help my clay stick right to my piece here. And I'll put links to everything, like where I got this base and where I got the roller and the stamp. I'll put links to everything right in the description area so you guys can find it very easily. If you need to know and I forget to put something there, just message me and I'll answer, and let you know where I got everything if I forgot something. But all I'm doing is gonna make sure I'm getting all this glue right into there. Okay. And then carefully, let me put this over here. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need. I'm thinking almost all of it. But when you do the inside, it's always slightly different than the outside. So you just got to kind of work with it and try to get that right in there. And don't worry if you get the glue all over, because we can work with it. Let me just get that right in there. This is going to be your hardest part right here. It's just trying to get this little section right here straight, because it is such a large amount of clay. And you know what? Actually, to make it easier, I'm going to do half and half. That way, it's less for me to have to kind of fight with. Because you can just piece them back together then. So get that right to the end and right to the end. And I'm hoping that I can show you exactly what I'm doing. Just very carefully pushing this down. I love these bases. They really just make things so much easier than building up your clay. Everything stays very lightweight and simple. You can see right now what I'm doing is I'm just pushing that air out. I hope you can see, like, there's a bubble right there. You don't want bubbles in your piece. So you just need to be careful and push the air out as you go. So now I'm just going to take this and just pull it up a little bit over the edge. Not all the way, just a little bit right over the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you see, that's beautiful right there. So now I'm just going to kind of look over it, make sure there's no bubbles in there. And I will not need all of this, so I'm just going to take, I'm going to guess at this, I'm going to say about right there is what I will need. And I'll probably end up trimming it up as well. So get that in there. And carefully just put those pieces right next to each other. And then butt them up next to each other. I'm really trying my hardest so you guys can see everything. It's a little hard to show you when it's so big right now. Okay, so you'll see right there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just pull that over. And then I'm going to pull that down. And that'll help stretch my clay to exactly where I need it. And just kind of pull that right up to the edge again. Do the same thing. I'm just pushing those little seams together. The main thing I want to do right now is just make sure my seams stick together. You want it to become one piece. So you can see the inside is beautiful still. So even with moving it around, the clay really holds the roller texture on there. All I'm going to do is just trim this up a little bit. Smooth that out. And I am going to get, let's see here. I'm going to get my little silicone tool here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of blend my seams together to make it one piece of clay again. Okay, make sure no air is in there. Is the one thing you do not want is air. So push that air out if you have any. And you'll feel it right away. You'll know if you have a bubble. Like here I have a bubble. You see how that's popping out there? So I'm going to push that out right there where the air is just all out. All right, so if you end up messing up the little edges with your, where your texture is, you could just take this and just roll it right over the edge. And that'll give you new texture. And nobody will ever notice that it doesn't align up perfect. There we go. So see all that new texture now from my fingers? This one's not as bad. This one's pretty good. So I'm just gonna get the very top here. Just where the edge on the top here. Because that's where I rubbed a lot of the texture out. The inside is still beautifully done. So I'm not worrying about that. So there we go. Okay, next I'm going to get my gold mica powder. And then I'm just going to take my fingers. Oh, look, I got an air pocket there. I see it. It popped up. Take my knife and just put a little hole in there. And pop that hole. Or bubble, I should say. Pop the bubble. I love doing these little extras. Nobody is going to see the inside of this bracelet but you. But to know that it's there, just to me, gives it that little special touch. And I'm just going to rub a little bit. I don't need it very dark. Just put a little bit of gold in there. And that'll show all the beautiful texture in there. All right, so I hope you can see how beautiful that looks inside. Now, I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm only going to bake it for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to do the, while this is baking, we're going to get the top ready for it. All right, so I have 2 pieces of clay rolled out to the number 2 on my pasta machine. So this is going to be 2 times thicker than the inside. All right, so we want this particular one, these 2, to be thick. And then I'm just going to get a bowl here, and I'm going to crush up some different kinds of gold leaf here. I don't want those ones, so I'm going to do some silver, gold, rose gold. I'm going to just mix up some colors here. Gold there. All right, so just tear it up, get it nice and broken up. I want to mix it all up here. All right, so now I'm going to take this and just sprinkle it all over. We want to mix it all up and get each color in this, okay? Kind of rub it around. And let's see. That should be good. All right, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to press this down. And I want to get a good imprint on this, okay? We're going to do the same thing with this one. Take your pieces, kind of crumple them up. Make sure you get a little bit of everything there. It's too much gold. All right, do the same thing. So you're gonna do 2 of these. I love these stamps. She has giraffes and tigers and elephants. She has a rhinoceros. I mean, there's all kinds of like really cool safari animals, and I just love them. All right, so now we're gonna get tape, and we're gonna take off the rest of this glitter here, or not glitter, I'm sorry, this gold leaf. I'm just gonna brush it right into my trash first. Try to get most of it off if I can. This way. Save some of my tape. And I'm not pushing hard because I don't want to ruin the texture. And let's start taking all that off. It's a little messy process, but it looks really cool when it's done. Alrighty. So as soon as my piece cools off in the oven, we will move on to the next part of this. But I really hope you can see just how gorgeous that looks. It is just absolutely beautiful. This stamp just is better than I expected it to come out. All right, so I rolled my scraps out to the same thickness. Now I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to move this. I want to get this kind of out of the way. Just going to set this on here for the time being. And do the same thing with the other one. And put those off to the side. And then I'm going to take my gold leaf and carefully fill this up. Just get that full. Okay. And you could do this with the multiple colors like I did before. Or you could just stick with gold. I'm sticking with just the gold. And then I'm going to take my roller and one more time go over. Look how beautiful. Very pleased with that. That's gorgeous. All right, guys. My piece is out of the oven. I hope you can see how beautiful that looks. Now this part will be shinier, but like I said, this is going inside. This is just a little extra for yourself. Now what I want to do is I want to put this tiger on. If I have a lot of room left over, I'm going to put 2 of them on. But I got to see if I have enough room for both, which I think I will, because I like to do a double tiger head. But I may end up changing it depending on what it looks like. So I'm going to start out just by putting my glue on top first. And this is why I wanted to bake the inside first, was because this way, if I'm moving it around, I don't have to worry about messing up the inside of it. And don't worry about the glue. You're gonna get glue on you. Probably not as messy as me, but I don't mind getting a little messy. All right, so I'm just gonna get this section here, and then the other section I will get afterwards. I just gotta see how much of this I need. So, and I want to try to get this as straight as I can. Okay. Layer this on. I'm going to try to get this straight if possible. I'll get this one a little bit over as well. There we go. And now you can see I'm just going to pull this lip right over. And I'll clean that all up at the very end. All right, look how pretty that looks, guys. I'm super happy with that. So now I have enough that I could do the other side as well. At this point, you just got to be careful that you're not gonna mess up your little tiger face here. I just want to make sure I have all the air out. Now I'll clean all this up afterwards. There's going to be quite a bit of cleaning up, but that's okay. Okay, so now for this one, I want to make sure that I have it even on the other side. So I'm just going to kind of do it sideways first and make sure that I have it as close as possible of being even between them. And okay, you can see I'm just pulling this to try to make this straight. Okay, pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to take this and kind of measure how much I think I'm going to need. Let's go about right here, halfway. And let's put this about okay. So let's put this here. And we're gonna have to make this fit as nicely as we can. So I'm gonna take this and we're gonna cut. And we'll make the other side straight as well. That's why I was trying to make it as straight as I could, so I didn't have to trim it too much. Trim up what you need to. I'm pretty happy with this so far. I think this is going to be really unique and cool. I love unique pieces. They're just fun. I love the idea of making things that nobody else has. All right, let's get this side. Okay. Now let me see how much I need on this one. I like to try to get as close as possible, so you can see all I'm doing is kind of laying that section there. And then I'm just going to trim it to where I think I can stop. And if I have to take a little bit more off, I'm okay with that. You just don't want to take too much off and then you don't have enough to stretch. Get off my finger. And then I'm going to straighten this section out here. Okay, look how beautiful that looks, guys. Isn't that gorgeous? I think that is so pretty. Now comes the tedious stuff of cleaning everything up and making it look almost perfect. Your pieces will never be perfect, you know, unless you spend hours and hours and hours, you know, playing around with it. But we're going to get it as close to being perfect as possible. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is take my little tool here, and right on the edge where the two join, I am going to kind of just push this little tool in here, and that will help connect my pieces together. You want those pieces to join together and become one piece of clay. And you can use any texture tool for this. Very happy with that. Now I'm just going to take my tape and go over the tiger area again, just to get off anything that, you know, may have kind of got loose. And I'm going to sand this little section down afterwards, so I'm not overly concerned about it, but I want to get as much off of it as possible. So when I sand it, it's just going to be a quick little buff on the black part. Now, let me just get this section looking good. Okay, beautiful. Do the same thing on this side. And you could use any smoothing tool. I'm using this little brush because it'll take off all the little extra like scrap clay that's kind of loose. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay. You see how gorgeous that looks so far? I'm pretty happy with that. Alright guys, so now I'll place this in my oven. I'm going to bake this for a full 45 minutes. And then I'll let it cool down in my oven as well. So it'll probably be about an hour total it'll be in the oven. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to clean this up and make it look absolutely stunning. My piece is out of the oven. I did end up sanding it completely. So I did both sides. And then I went ahead and I used my Sculpey Gloss Glaze inside. I didn't want to put resin in it this time around. But then I put resin here. And then I did these here. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did that on this little section here. And the reason I'm not going to do the whole thing is because I'm basically going to be doing the same thing over and over and over. So one little section will give you the idea and let you guys know exactly what you need to do. So I favor the J. Diction UV resin. So I'm just going to put that right on there. And you don't want to put a lot on right away. And the reason being is it will drip. Right now it's super hot where I am. Today's temperature is like 109. It's just ridiculous. So the hotter it gets, the quicker your UV resin like is warmer and it kind of like just drips and it will make a mess. So just kind of be careful with how much you're putting on. I also put it in this little cup to kind of give me a little bit more control over it, but since I'm doing this little area, I'm all right with it this way. So you just put this on. Now I did resin this section twice on the other side, and I will show you why. But I do a thin coat first. Okay, so then I'm just gonna go put that right on the edge. Okay, I like putting it on the edge because it keeps it nice and shiny and protect it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this under my UV light, and I'm gonna say for probably about, say 3 to 5 minutes total. All right, so this is what it looks like so far. Now the next thing I want to do is start putting my little pieces on. So you'll see here I did the triangles. So on this side, I'm going to do the triangles on the bottom. I just want it to be kind of like a little bit different. So I'm going to take my resin and just put a very small amount on and just put it right at the bottom. And this is why I put the resin on twice. So I kind of just do this little area and I'll put all my pieces on, and then I do a final coat and make it all leveled, and it looks beautiful. So I just take my little wax tip here, and don't worry about if it's perfect right now, because you can just easily level it out afterwards. So kind of just put it into place. It's very simple. Just move them into place where you want them. Oops, that one went upside down. Come on. So if you get them upside down, you just gotta flip them, but sometimes it's a pain, and because I'm not wearing gloves, it's gonna give me a little hard time here. So let me get my little tweezers here. Because you don't want resin on your hands, it just becomes very messy. So there we go. And like I said, don't worry about it being perfectly straight right away. You could do it as you go, or you could do it all at one time. I know I had like 10 across in each color. And you can see I'm just going to lay them down and then I'll even them out like I said earlier. I really gotta say, I love these stamps. I'm going to show you the other stamps that I got because they're just so pretty. And there's so many different ones that she has. But the tiger, my husband and I just love cats. His is mine is the Black Panther. That's my favorite. And his is the cheetah. So we both have a love for cats. But when I saw this tiger one, I knew I just had to get it. And I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And I knew, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to make a statement piece out of this. And initially I was like, well, maybe I'll just do a box, because you could do boxes with this. But the more and more I looked at it, I just knew in my heart that I had to do a bracelet with this, because I am all about look at me type of person, you know, like look what I got, look what I made. So if you are one of those people like I am, that you really just want to show off what you can create and what you have and really make your jewelry a beautiful statement piece, this is definitely one that will catch everybody's eyes. You can see I'm just going to level these out now. Let me just pull some. You just gotta kind of play around and make sure they're all even. Sometimes they just want to go up a little further than they should, or down. And this is one of the reasons why I like using the UV resin, because if I use glue on this, once you place it down, it's stuck. That's it. Like, you're not going to be able to move it. So the UV resin really gives you time to play with it. Okay, you see how pretty that looks now? Just make sure your pieces are straight, and then put them under your UV light for about a couple minutes, and then we're going to do the next level. And all I'm going to do is just kind of straighten out that little line of resin that I have here, so it doesn't look like it's spilling, so to speak. And now I'm going to put that under my light. Well, that's under the light. I want to show you some of these other stamps that I got just because they're so pretty. So obviously this is the tiger. I mean, this is the one that I used today, so beautiful. And then you can see this is an elephant, so it has the stamp and the cutter separately. I love this. I'm actually thinking of making a very large bag charm with this because I love elephants. And then this would be more like a, I guess a female lion or a panther. This reminds me of a panther. And then we have our monkey. A zebra, which I want to do a beautiful zebra necklace. I think that's just gorgeous. And then the giraffe, just beautiful. And our rhino. But this is the rhino I really love. I mean, check this out, guys. Look how gorgeous that is. And then it comes with the cutter separately. So I just love this particular one. I think it is just beautiful. So you can get either or, but this is the one that I really like. So those are the options that we have right now, or I should say that Aussie Craft Cutters has, that I got from her. I'm hoping that she's going to make more because I just think they're beautiful, and I'm really, really happy with the way that this one came out, and I have a lot of other plans for the other ones. Okay, so now you can see that I did squares on this one, but I made them look like in the shape of diamonds. So I'm going to do that on the top here with these particular ones. Now, honestly, I can't tell you where I got these. I will put everything in the description area as I, use things. But truthfully, I don't know where I got these. I had these laying around for so long that I could not tell you where I got them. But I will look and see if I could find them. If I can, I'll make sure to put them on there because these particular pieces are so useful, and they're great. I love them. I think they're wonderful because I have used them on so many different projects, and they really just come in handy. All right, guys, so this is what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to put my final coat of resin on this area, and then it is finished. So, I mean, this project really was simple, but it really does have beautiful results. So I'm going to go all the way up right over those pieces. And you can see I'm not putting this on thick. You don't need it thick. The thicker you make your resin, the heavier your bracelet will be. And because this is such a big bracelet to begin with, you really don't need it to be overly heavy, or you don't want it to be overly heavy, I should say. And now I'm going to let this under my UV light for about 10 minutes just to make sure everything is completely sealed and cured. And then I'll show you what it looks like on, because I absolutely love this. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, how gorgeous is that? Talk about getting a lot of compliments on this. This piece right here, I have the feeling I'm going to get a lot of people saying, wow. All right, guys, here it is. Look how gorgeous this is. Now, I know it's large, but like I said, it is a statement piece. Can you see how gorgeous that is? I am in love with this. I think this is going to be a real showstopper, so to speak. Now, of course, if you don't like big, bold, this isn't going to work for you. You're going to want something much smaller, and I have some bracelets that are much smaller, but this particular one, I really wanted a statement piece, and I just find this to be absolutely stunning. I love the detail here, and I love how clear the tiger came out. I mean, and then all the little gems. How gorgeous is this? I mean, it's just beautiful. I love that we were able to texture the inside as well. I hope you could really see how beautiful that looks. Now, I will say I like the texture better on the gold leaf than the mica powder, but I really didn't want to put gold leaf inside because I feel like with gold leaf, the resin really protects it much better than the Sculpey Gloss Glaze. So mica powder just would work better for this particular thing. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you love this bracelet as much as I do. If you do, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my membership, and I will see you all next time. Bye.